All right. So today I'm going to talk about John Lindquist's Kit project. It's an MIT licensed open source project written in JavaScript to basically, like script kiddies, write scripts, manage scripts, and host them locally and run them locally. But of course, with everything, you can execute also remote projects. And let's have a look. There's also a website here. So it's currently in beta. There's a scripts library here where we have different app launchers. And basically I came across this when John Lindquist wrote a blog post about executing AppleScript in a shell. And this is his blog post. I will reference that also below. But if you dive deeper into the Kit project, you can see that that's actually, he wrote wrappers for the AppleScript. The project's been around for a couple of months already. So since end of last year. But I really just noticed it a couple of months ago. Yeah, so there's not much documentation yet. There's a quite active discussion group here on GitHub where people are basically sharing which scripts they're building, how to install it, how to upgrade. And I found that there's some cool scripts here, such as viewing your AWS costs for a given month or for a given timeline. You can start running that as well locally. However, I basically installed already this script, and you can see that up here. It can be invoked with command semicolon. And let's just run the tutorial here. It will open code because that's what I set in my environment file. There's basically, if you want to see, there's the environment file. So there's basically two projects here, .kit and .knth. The .kit hosts your npm packages and your node reference. And the .knth, which is this repository, basically is your scripts library main repository, I would call it. So it opened up this GitHub users project that I just created with run tutorial. So it's a CLI script that was executed, inputting some name. And now we've got this. We can run this the same way we run the tutorial, just from our project. Nothing happens because it actually is sent to a log file inside the knth repository. So if we open up the log file and we bring it down here, that's easier to read. You see this line just got executed, mfts GitHub script. Cool. So there's also other things like this show command, basically, and this arc command. And if we save this and again run our project, oops, my bad, it's going to ask me to type in my username. Then it's outputting this basic Electron version of an HTML page. You type mfts. I can also pull a API URL, in this case the GitHub API, with my name. And I can run inspect, and then let's see what inspect does. Let's save this. I want to run GitHub user with my name. Oh, and it actually outputs a JSON file. So the JSON file is saved here into my, like a temporary folder under my scripts. You can see I've run this before already. That's quite nice. So easy to consume. Now, how about that AWS script? Let's see if we can just create a new script. We can also invoke this from the terminal. I had to dig around a bit, but basically the way we would do this, there's in our bin directory, there's something called new. Let's bring this up here to make this easier to read. And it's basically a bash script where we're taking node with all our environment, and we're executing this CLI new.js. So CLI.new.js. This is in Kit. Okay, this is in the Kit, so this is not here actually. Interesting. But I guess it's also referenced here because here's the new.js script. So, okay. You can see there's a lot going on. It's very much scripted. I love that he took so much care of writing all these these methods. All right, let's see if we can run. So where are we at? Okay, bin and then new. And let's call it AWS costs. Creating a new script. Okay. Creating a new template, opening it with code. Cool. So it created a new template for us. Let's close all this. It also created a new reference here. As you can see, there's GitHub users, which actually just invokes our scripts.githubusers.js, which is here. And the same thing happened for AWS costs, which also created new scripts here. It's currently an empty file. We don't need this executable. But let's paste the stuff that we gotten from. Actually, let's reference this guy. Okay, Benjamin Lennon. Thank you so much for writing that. And save. All right. So now we could execute this AWS costs. Actually, let's check. So the AWS costs is also available here, but I want to run it from the console. The args are just passed in as two separate arguments. Let's check our AWS bill from the beginning of the year until for the first month of this year, basically. Of course, it's executing our CLI command of AWS, which then looks at our account and basically gets this. But instead of writing all this, he packages up very nicely into this small little script called AWS costs, and you just pass into arguments, and out you should get.
Your AWS bill is 6 cents.
Okay, I hope you heard that. So it was actually speaking because we have this say command here, and it's using kit speech, and then it output your AWS bill is, and then 6 cents. So it read this amount here, which month cost. Yeah, it's very cool. So it searched for the amount of cost in the blended, and it searched the amount and fixed it to 2 decimal points, and it was 6 cents. So not a lot of action going on this AWS account. But yeah, there it is. There's lots of cool scripts here. Currently, they're all maintained by John Lindquist. However, like I said, the community here building a lot of stuff like time zone scripts from Elia Manure. We could just try this out, or we could just build our own scripts. And yeah, super exciting. I'd love for him to add more documentation. Otherwise, we would have to build that on top. So the documentation currently is a bit little, but it's a very exciting project, and it does deserve more stars. So thanks so much for tuning in.